Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good morning, I wish you all. Welcome, selamat datang, yokoso. To start with, let us recite the Al-Fatiha. May we always be on the straight path. Al-Fatiha. Innal hamdalillah wa bihi nasta'in wal 'aqibatu lil muttaqin wa la 'udwana illa 'alal zalimin. Allahumma shalli 'ala sayyidina Muhammad wa 'ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. I am Ahmad Muzamir, economic student of Datuk University, and it is my privilege to be hosting today, and we are glad to have all of the distinguished guests whom we are honoring today. The Honorable Datuk A.B. Rahim, Noor, Secretary-General, Ministry of Higher Education, Malaysia. The Honorable Prof.Dr. Khairuddin Abdul Hamid, Vice Chancellor of Malaysia, University of Sarawak, Advisory of MJASS 2012 Organizing Committee, Prof.Dr. Shuji Hashimoto, Vice President, Waseda University, Prof.Dr. Rugaya Muhammad, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Malaysia National Defence University, Prof.Dr. Hiroyuki Nishide, Dean School of Advanced Science and Engineering, Waseda University, Prof.Dr. Shin'ichi Oishi, Dean Graduate School of Fundamental Science and Engineering, Faculty of Science and Engineering, Waseda University, Prof.Dr. Osamu, Honor Deputy Dean of Graduate School, Meiji University, Advisory of MJASS 2012 Organizing Committee, Mrs. Shireen Azra Azli, General Manager, Malaysian Diaspora Outreach, Talent Corporation, Malaysia Berhad, representative from Tokuyama, Malaysia Senior Berhad, representative from Osaka, Japan, Mr. Toshihiro Nakano, Vice President, and Mr. Yasuaki Nagaishi, Secretary-General, Osaka, Japan, Dr. Zainal Abidin Sanusi, Deputy Director, Higher Education Leadership Academy, Malaysia, all distinguished guests, participants of MJASS, ladies and gentlemen. MJASS aims to provide a platform for Malaysian students to exchange information about their researches and studies. And this will include panel discussion session that will be discussing on human capital development of Malaysia through the Look East policy. The outcome of the event will become the source of information regarding the field of Malaysian student studies in Japan. In addition to that, this event will help promoting the effectiveness of Look East policy in producing excellent human resource for the benefits of our country, Malaysia. To celebrate and appreciate all the parties involved in this policy, with the slogan, "Let's build our dream," Malaysia Students Association, like Malaysia Student Association Japan, MSAJ, Ikatan Persaudaraan Islam Jepun, IPIJ, Club UMNO Jepun, KUJ, Aspiring Malaysian Rijal, AMIR, have collaborated to organize the first academic seminar for Malaysian students in Japan entitled Malaysia-Japan Academic Scholar Seminar, MJASS 2012. Let's give a big applause for all the committee members. Our gratitude and warm appreciation to all of our sponsors for their support. Please give a big applause again for our main sponsor, the Ministry of Higher Education Malaysia, MOHED, our co-sponsors, Waseda University, Majlis Amanah Rakyat MARA, Yayasan Pelajaran MARA YPM, Asia, Tourism Malaysia, Yayasan Ilmuwan, Talent Corp Malaysia Berhad, and Tokuyama Malaysia Senior Berhad. And this event is fully supported by Jabatan Perkhidmatan Awam JPA. Please give a big applause for all our sponsors and all of the members involved in this event. And for information, this year 2012 is the remark of the 30th anniversary of Look East policy, LEP, since it was established during the fourth ruling of our Prime Minister, Dr. Mahathir Mohamad. Let's proceed our event to the welcoming speech. Now I would like to call upon Prof.Dr. Hiroyuki Nishide, Dean School of Advanced Science and Engineering, Waseda University, to say a few words. Please welcome.
So delighted to have the visit of Malaysian Ministry General Secretary and Chancellors of universities and Malaysian delegates here in this Waseda campus. I'm now serving as the Dean of Graduate School of Advanced Science and Engineering, which involves the departments of physics, chemistry, biomedical, electronics, and electric engineering, nanoscience, and so on. We have also very strong and solid graduate programs or PhD programs. So we are more than happy to welcome Malaysian students in joining our graduate programs. And also, we really hope to have partner exchange professors, especially young professors. My major is polymer science, polymer, which also involves the plastics, textile, and rubbers. So I have many friends from Malaysia scientists, especially Institute AMIR, Malaysia. I'm also now serving as the president of the Federation of Asian Polymer Society, and one of the 17 founding members is Malaysian polymer community. And I'm always very pleased to work with Malaysian scientists and engineering industrial sector people. Now, global dynamism in manufacturing, at least, is initiated from Asian, East Asian, and Southeast Asian countries. Not only such dynamism in industrial sectors, but also academic or research or scientific trends or stream is now often originated from Asian countries, including Malaysia and Japan. So I really hope that this workshop or seminar is an excellent opportunity to gather our communities and to meet newcomers from Malaysia and Japan, and also enjoy bus tour of Tokyo downtown area, Shinjuku. Thank you very much and congratulations.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Hiroyuki Nishide. Next, please welcome Professor Dr. Shin'ichi Oishi, Dean School of Graduate School of Fundamental Science and Engineering, Faculty of Science and Engineering, Waseda University, to deliver his speech. Please welcome.
Selamat pagi. Is it okay? Good morning. My name is Shin'ichi Oishi. Probably you know the Japanese word Oishi. Sushi is Oishi, well known to you, but my name is Oishi, not Oishi. Direct translation is big stone. So big is O, Ishi is stone. And I'm now serving as a dean of the School of Fundamental Science and Engineering. So our faculty has a history of more than 100 years. Especially, you know, the honorary doctor, honorary doctor of I'm sorry. Ibuka, he is the founder of Sony Corporation. He graduated our schools, and in our school, computer science and engineering, communication engineering, and electronics, photonics, and mathematics, and applied mathematics, and also new area, intermediate expressions are included. And around 4 years ago, we have established an international course on computer science and engineering, and also pure and applied mathematics, in which every lectures are delivered by English. And this covers from graduate school to doctor course. So now it is very easy. You don't need to learn Japanese, but only English. Probably this is good challenge. And further, I'd like to introduce our campus so that we have more than 10,000 students in this campus. And among them, master course student plus doctor course student, number of them amount around 4,000. So we have a big university, and we one of the focus of our university is to educate excellent researchers who open a new area of science and engineering. So I hope with the collaboration with universities in Malaysia, we would like to educate excellent students who bring the Asian area much more happy and comfortable. And also I would like to announce that we will enhance the international course. So at present, only 12 students we accept every year. But from 2012, we will accept around 60 students. So it becomes much lower. So I have visited several times in Malaysia, and I know Malaysia is so beautiful, and people are very kind. And so I hope today's meeting will also be fruitful for making friendship tighter Malaysian and Japanese people. So terima kasih and selamat datang.
Thank you very much to Professor Dr. Hiroyuki Nishide and Professor Dr. Shin'ichi for the great welcoming speech. On behalf of the committee members and all of the scholars, I would like to call upon our committed and dedicated chairperson of MJASS 2012, Mrs. Noor Afiza Razali, to convey her message. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum, salam bahagia, salam satu Malaysia. Minasama, ohayo gozaimasu. Yang berbahagia, Datuk Abdul Rahim Noor, Secretary-General Ministry of Higher Education Malaysia, Prof.Dr. Shuji Hashimoto, Vice President Waseda University. Yang berbahagia, Professor Datuk Dr. Khairuddin Abdul Hamid, Vice Chancellor, Malaysia University of Sarawak. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Again, good morning. Welcome to the first Malaysia-Japan Academic Seminar, or MJASS 2012. Firstly, I would like to thank Waseda University for the support in providing the venue for this seminar. Arigatou gozaimasu. Special thanks also to the main sponsor of the seminar, Ministry of Higher Education Malaysia, and our co-sponsors, Tokuyama Malaysia Sendirian Berhad, Asia Talent Corp Malaysia Berhad, Majlis Amanah Rakyat, dan juga Yayasan Pelajaran Mara, Tourism Malaysia, Yayasan Ilmuwan, for the support in making sure the MJASS 2012 become a reality. Also, thank you to the ACAP, Academic Kepimpinan Kementerian Pengajaran Tinggi Malaysia, for your support and dedication to make this happen today. Thank you very much. And also, me as a representative for the organizing committee would also like to thank our international advisor, Prof.Dr. Khairuddin, Prof.Dr. Kawarada, and also Prof.Dr. Ono from Waseda University for all the advices, opinions, and also guidance that was given to us. And we also hope the support will continue for our future MJASS that we are planning to do it annually. Also, I would like to thank to our special guests and keynote speakers, Yang Berbahagia Datuk Rahim Noor, for the support and also for the time allocation. For our information today, Datuk Rahim just arrived today. Flight to Narita, touchdown at 7:30 in the morning, and from there we straight away, bring Datuk Rahim to this event venue. Datuk, thank you so much again. And also, thank you very much for your time, for ladies and gentlemen, students. Thank you for spending your Saturday morning time to come here, to be here with us, to listen to our keynote speakers and also the panelists and also the program that we already organized for today's event. And this is the first MJASS that is organized in conjunction of the 30th celebration of Look-East policy by a special committee called Team LEP, which consists of the leaders of 4 main students' association in Japan, which is the Malaysian Student Association in Japan, or MSAJ. Also the Club UMNO Jepun, KUJ, Aspiring Malaysian Rijal, AMIR, dan Ikatan Persaudaraan Islam Jepun, IPIJ. With the help from them and full cooperation also from the Public Service Department, Puan Kirayu dan Encik Nizam, thank you very much. They also helping us to make today as a success. And the main goal for this seminar is to get the Malaysian academician throughout Japan for knowledge sharing and to serve as a unique platform for academic discussion. So for this year Malaysia-Japan Academic Scholar Seminar, MJASS, the organizing committee is proud to say that we have the honor in having renowned and special guests from Malaysia and Japan for the seminar keynote and also our panelization. And such an opportunity is quite rare actually, and we hope that all of us will take this opportunity to the fullest. Also, again, I would like to thank you to all Malaysian academicians who had sent the abstract of their research to MJASS 2012. This will give us the chance to exchange the knowledge and information about our latest research done by Malaysians here in Japan. And the experiences in organizing this kind of seminar also could be utilized as medium to develop and groom multitasking future leaders for Malaysia among the Look-East policy students. And finally, I would like to especially thank again our main sponsor, which is the Ministry of Higher Education Malaysia, and also the co-sponsors. I really hope that all the support will continue for the future MJASS as we are planning to make this seminar as an annual event in Japan. 皆様、本日お越しいただきまして誠にありがとうございます。今後ともよろしくお願い申し上げます。See you again next year in Meiji University for the MJASS 2013. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Noor Afiza, and we hope this will become a kickstart event for the next generation of LEP to come up with new innovation and revolution for the sake of our country growth, and as well as to sustain broad-based momentum between Malaysia and Japan. Now we come to the segment of this event, which is the keynote speech one. I would like to call upon the Honorable Datuk A.B. Rahim bin Noor, Secretary-General to Ministry of Higher Education Malaysia for the keynote speech entitled New Dimension Look is Policy. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning. Ohayou gozaimasu. Salam satu Malaysia. Distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen. First, I would like to introduce my name because one of the professors introduced his name. It's quite interesting. Big storm. But my name is something soothing. Rahim means the loving one. So I love everyone here. So it is a great pleasure to be here today, and our meeting this morning is indeed a very special one. It is a meeting to reflect the impact of Malaysia's Look East policy on its national development and competitiveness. But what makes this meeting more meaningful is the fact that this year we are celebrating 3 decades of the Look East policy since it was first introduced. And I'm very honored to be given the opportunity to speak in front of almost 200 students and participants who came from a very diverse background, representing at least 20 different agencies, universities, Malaysia-Japan related associations and individuals who strongly convicted to the Look East policy. I feel even more honored, particularly for the fact that I myself is an alumni of this Look East policy. I'm the product of Look East policy. I studied in Waseda University. Now the school has been moved to Roppongi, which is Greek School of Policy Science, I guess. I don't know whether the name has changed or not. It was almost 20 years ago, and this is the first time I came here after I left Japan 20 years ago. So it's really a good memory for me, and I almost forgot all my Japanese. But I still remember one of the Japanese friends, girlfriend. That is a secret. Nobody should tell my wife later on. Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by arguing that the Look East policy has been transformational in many ways. For 30 years, a steady stream of people has connected our countries. 15,000 Malaysians, each looking east themselves, searching for the skills and work ethic that make Japan synonymous with industrial success. For 30 years, Malaysians have benefited from the openness of the Japanese friend and people, from their willingness to share the principles that inspired one of the great economic miracles in our age. For 30 years, our countries have found common cause in the common understanding that knowledge shared does not bring risk but benefits for all. Companies founded in Osaka or headquartered in Tokyo have made homes in Malaysia and made their contribution to Malaysia's vibrant economic growth today. And Japanese people have come to Malaysia to seeking the warmth and tolerance that defines our nation, beloved Malaysia. When Look East policy was introduced in 1981 by Tun Mahathir, then Prime Minister, he received many skeptical and cynical responses as he elaborated in his keynote speech in the international seminar on 30th celebration of the Look East policy, sustainability and achievement, organized recently in June 2012 in Kuala Lumpur. However, now 30 years later, the critics are well debated. Everyone now acknowledges that Malaysia has made better progress, and most better progress than most other developing countries. The fastest pace of Malaysia's progress and developments took place in the last 3 decades, coinciding with the Malaysia's Look East policy. For a country with a population of just over 28 million, Malaysia's position as the 18th biggest trading nation in the world is something that Malaysians are proud of. And this success is significant because we have done it not by adopting the Western blueprint of modernization in total. We have been able to reflect on the success of Japan and emulate its strong values and cultures that define their success. Ladies and gentlemen, there is obviously no need for me to reiterate the success stories of the strategies and programs introduced by our government through the Look East policy over the last 30 years. However, in brief, it is worth to highlight that in the last 30 decades, we have seen a rapid evolution of the policy from one that was highly criticized to one that has turned into a robust and dynamic framework supporting the Malaysian development policy. The first decade of the policy witnessed numerous efforts to study and evaluate the Japan that had done and achieved. And then in the second decade, we started to see the contribution of those people, including students and officers whom we sent to Japan, returned to Malaysia and contributed a significant share in Malaysian industrialization programs. And in these last 10 years, Malaysia has gradually transformed from an agriculture country into an industrialized nation, whereby the alumni of the Look East policy had played an integral part in contributing to Malaysia's development process. And in this opportunity, I am very glad to highlight that our Prime Minister, Datuk Sri Najib Tun Razak, during his speech in the Look East policy, A New Dimension on the 10th of October this year, has injected a new impetus to the policy when he urges for a new dimension which can be seen as a beginning of the second wave of the policy. In response to these challenges outlined by the Prime Minister, I would like to share my thought, especially from the perspective of the Ministry of Higher Education. Ladies and gentlemen, as we are all aware, the acquisition of skills, knowledge and values was central to the success of the Look East policy. So let us apply them further by widening the net, especially in this arena of higher education cooperation. I would like to see more Japanese universities working in partnership with Malaysian higher education institutions in various areas of higher education cooperation. But here I would like to also mention that during my stay in Japan, I will be meeting my counterpart in the Education Ministry of Japan, and we hope that a lot more collaboration can be enhanced and mutually agreed upon. I must go beyond an undergraduate and postgraduate training. I wish to see greater transformational collaboration in research and innovation, especially in the areas of green technology, energy and food security, life sciences, high value-added engineering, and climate change. Such strategic partnership will contribute towards our transition to an innovation and knowledge-driven economy and help strengthen the backbone of our economy. The industrial landscape now has changed compared to last 30 years back. The levels of contribution expected from those trained under the Look East policy into the local practices are now becoming more interlinked and interdependent with the bigger ecosystem of the industry in the country. Therefore, it is important to ensure the continuity and the interconnection by creating the structure of process that will enable the integration of those Eastern values and skills to those skills and values that are being inculcated among our local graduates. There are a number of possible mechanisms for this purpose. This seminar is an excellent example of such platforms. Comparative analysis of how the East and West differ in their approach to respond to global crisis would definitely provide strong conviction on which values are more appropriate to our country. While our local universities definitely address these issues in extensive manner, but what might be missing is the intensity of looking at the contribution of the East in more than just ad hoc basis. I believe it is high time that the values of East are being taught and exposed in a more structured manner throughout the curriculum of our local universities. Then only we can strengthen the extension of Look East policy beyond those direct participation of the program under the policy. Secondly, the second wave advocates for more targeted and more closely linked to special outcomes. Then the hard question would be, what kind of skills do we want to acquire, in what areas, at what levels, under the economic transformation program. The country is moving into more high technology and knowledge-driven industries. The focus is on industries related to management of the environment, to energy saving and green technologies. Education is identified as one of the strategic initiatives for this purpose. Therefore, the teaching, research, and developments done at the local universities need to be aligned with these aims as well. So we need to construct a Look East program that addresses these needs and develop the linkages with the local universities' activities. In order to promote such activities, there is a further need to foster closer collaboration between those agencies that have so far championing the Look East policy, such as the Public Service Department with the Malaysian and with the Malaysian Ministry of Higher Education. I believe there have been many research collaboration taking place between Japanese universities and Malaysian universities. Unfortunately, the activities were not all made known to the ministry so as to enable the ministry to derive policy implication towards better government-to-government cooperation. This is an area that can be strengthened towards this objective. One of the issues that were raised in search for the new dimension was the question of quantities of nature of program to be introduced under the policy for the next decades. At the moment, 2/3 of students are entered for academic programs, while 1/3 undertake technical studies. Is this the right balance? What about the scale of our ambition? How many youths should we train? Is 500 a year an average for 30 years? Is it enough? Are we training enough graduates to build up a critical mass that will have a meaningful impact in the workplace? In answering these questions, the hard fact is that the current economic and financial condition will not allow the same number of program and participants like before. Therefore, the role of universities in Japan is to ensure the right and deep understanding of the Japanese values and skills among the students and trainees so that they can magnify the impact to the most when they return to Malaysia. And concurrently, the universities in Malaysia have to provide the appropriate exposure to prepare the local graduate to interact with the Japanese graduate when they meet in the working environment. If we were to rely only on one-sided initiative from the alumni of the Look East policy, it is doubted that the impact will be too slow for the transformation process needed by our country. Ladies and gentlemen, the third observation made by the Prime Minister was the need to concentrate on building not just stronger graduates, but also stronger institutions, particularly in reference to the establishment of the Malaysia-Japan International Institute of Technology last June. Here is where the Ministry has even stronger interest and role in shaping the second wave of this policy. While we have our own technological institute, the presence of this MJIT in this fraternity will definitely contribute towards greater collaboration among them. The institute will give Malaysia the opportunity to experience the unique industrial environments made possible by close collaboration between Japanese academia and business. It will encourage more Japanese companies to invest in Malaysia, and I sincerely hope it will inspire more Japanese universities to set up branch campuses in Malaysia too. With these three initial ideas in response to the call for new dimension towards second wave of the Look East policy, I believe if they took place, they will do justice to the original spirit in which the Look East policy was conceived by creating a broader, more effective, more lasting collaboration. That in turn will bring big benefits for our citizens, our industries, and our economy. Ladies and gentlemen, looking at the issue from the much broader perspective, the future of the world is going to be shaped by the force of globalization. Managing the impact of globalization requires multifaceted approaches. So far, there is little input from the East Asian countries. If there is, the world does not take heed. The East Asians need to work together, and they need leadership. And the challenge for Japan is to take on the leadership role. Japan has the size, the wealth, and the technological prowess. Military might is still important, but today's war is more economic than military. Japan has shown how it could resurrect itself after the most devastating war, and the East Asia, indeed, in the world, and the world needs Japan, its dynamism, and its single-minded dedication. Today's world is in shambles. The abuses of free trading system, the unlimited greed of a considerable number of speculators, the fumbling and incompetence in the handling of problems has resulted in the world losing its way. Just look at how the European financial crisis have impacted on the global economy. The world has lost its way, and we need a leader, and that is Japan. It can help bring the world back to its senses. It can help revive the world's economy. It can do many things if it decides not to follow, but to lead. This then is the challenge for Japan in the globalized world, to lead and not to be led. And this is why Malaysia still remain committed in supporting Japan, especially in the Look East policy. With that note, I would like to end my speech by congratulating the organizer, the Malaysian Student Association Japan, who has shown a highest level of dedication and hard work in making this seminar a reality. For a student association to be able to organize an event of this level and nature, indeed it is an achievement that deserves a strong compliment and recognition. Last but not least, I must also register my greatest appreciation to our fellow Japanese colleagues who are together with us today in this seminar. Indeed, your presence and the presence of the participants of this seminar is a remarkable evidence of support and also indicated such an impact on the policy that is not only advantageous to Malaysia, but also mutually benefiting Japan. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to the Honorable Datuk Rahim bin Noor for this keynote speech. And we hope this mutual beneficial collaboration will continue to provide us with inspiration for the competitiveness of Malaysia and Japan. And through this, it has definitely shown that Asians can do better with their own friends. Next, we are moving to the keynote speech number 2, I would like to call upon the Honorable Professor Datuk Dr. Khairuddin Abdul Hamid, Vice Chancellor of Malaysia University of Sarawak, Advisory to the MJASS 2012 Organizing Committee. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum, wahai selamat pagi and very good morning. First and foremost, I am very honored to be here this morning. And before I forget, I would like to congratulate the chairperson and the organizing committee of this seminar. Congratulations, they have done a great job and will make us Malaysian very proud. And also, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, being the advisor of this seminar, I'm very honored, and actually it's a very easy job because they are very good people. So they just emailed me a few times, but they did everything by themselves. So I think their effort actually demonstrated the true spirit of Look East policy. So once again, congratulations to them, and also thank you to all the sponsors. My name, again, what's the meaning of my name? Okay. So see the last two speakers mentioned about name. I think of my name, the meaning of my name is somebody is very religious. But I'm not sure whether I qualify to have that name. Again, I don't have a girlfriend here. I used to be a visiting professor in Waseda University in 1998. I was here for 6 months. But unfortunately, I cannot speak Japanese. So wherever I go in Japan, I still use sign language. But that, I think, is sufficient for me for the time being. So, congratulations again for the Look East policy, celebrating the 30th anniversary. And for UNIMAS, we are celebrating our 20th anniversary this year. So we are 10 years younger than Look East policy. In preparing this document, the presentation, I would like to introduce my co-author, Dr. Azham Zulkarnain, who is upstanding. He is the product of Look East policy from Shibawara Institute of Technology. He's now a senior lecturer at UNIMAS. Okay, a little bit about the background of this seminar. Maybe not people knew about it. Oh, sorry. I was here in June 8 this year. This is a seminar on Global Information and Telecommunication Institute, or GITS. I used to be a fellow here. And then during this seminar, I was surprised to see 2 students, Malaysian students, the chairperson and Khairuddin. This one. Which the point here? It's high tech, very difficult for me to manage. Okay. So you can recognize the chairperson, and Khairul also is the 2 students I met during that time. And during the break, we discussed about how to celebrate this policy. They were talking about having dinner, party, this kind of thing. But I think in order to reflect the true meaning of this policy, I said, why don't you have an academic seminar? And from that moment, they picked up the idea and they organized it. And now today, we are here having this seminar because of these 2 students and also the rest of the committee members. Again, well done. I am very proud to be associated with this seminar. Now, the Look East policy, actually not really East, it's in North-East. But to make it simple, we call it Look East policy. The first 2 main countries that was identified is actually Korea and Japan. Actually, it was mentioned Taiwan for a while, but somehow Japan is really the most prominent, and of course, lately Korea also part of this program of Look East policy. So you can see Malaysia has actually identified these 2 countries in Asia as a benchmark for future development. The background, this is in the early 80s or late 70s. As you know, in the late 70s and early 80s, the GDP of Japan actually surpassed the combined GDP of all other East Asian countries. So developed, so advanced. And large Japanese investment into production facilities and infrastructure projects in Asia. Even in the late 70s, they already invested a lot of money in Asian countries. And at that time, 23% of Malaysia's GDP actually depending from Japan investment in Malaysia. But there is also the history between Malaysia and Japan, especially during the Second World War. It is not a nice history. Yeah? Because Japan often being criticized over the war in Asia, especially the Japanese occupation in Malaya at a particular time. However, Japan played a selfish role in helping Asian countries after the post-war years. So it gave us the belief that through that spirit that we saw from Japan and how they developed after the war, that we can compete and we can be at the same level as other developed countries, especially our former colonial rulers. So therefore, Japan has showed us spectacular recovery from the ashes of war to become a fully developed and respected nation. So therefore, I think this is the background in which the former Prime Minister, Tun Mahathir, come up with the idea of Lukis policy. He said that, we wanted Malaysians to work as hard as the Japanese, and were convinced that any lack of skills from which our workforce might have suffered could be made up at least partly by hard work. So there's no secret about being success. Just work hard for student. So practice makes perfect. Again, you have to try and try and try. So the old truism goes, and through constantly practicing successful management techniques, we knew the necessary new skill we learn for develop. This is from Dr. Mahathir when he about to start with his policy. Now, the Lukis policy, we found a lot of information about this policy. There's certain dates are actually confusing, but it's the source from the Embassy of Japan in Malaysia. The Lukis policy was announced by that particular time by Prime Minister Dr. Mahathir on the 8th of February, 1982. It's the first time he announced during the 5th Joint Annual Conference of Japan-Malaysia Economic Association in Kuala Lumpur. So the aim is as such, as I explained before, is to emulate the success story of Japan. Therefore, the objective, to put in simple terms, actually to learn and emulate and useful elements from the Japanese and to the South, the Korean. But by looking at the culture of the Japanese and the Koreans, we are not supposed to just imitate, but to understand the philosophy and the spirit behind those policies, those programs, not just simply copy. So look East does not mean completely reject the positive element of the West. So we have to strike a balance and find all the good elements from both sides. And focus primarily on learning and implementing work ethics. There are many times that in Dr. Mahathir's speech he mentioned about work discipline and loyalty. I think that's a major component of the Japanese culture to make them successful. Again, the same thing that he stressed: hard work, loyalty, self-reliance through self-improvement, strive for quality, and determination and initiative. So this is the background of this policy. Now I would like to proceed with the program under this policy. There are many programs actually. I don't intend to cover everything, but I think it's enough to divide two parts of my program, my presentation. One is with regards to human human capital development. And secondly is outside the domain of human capital development. Normally when people talk about this policy, they always talk about sending students to Japan, sending our staff or training to Japan. But there are other aspects of this policy which most of us actually not aware. So under the Noor policy, this is under the human capital development. We have a series of programs. Yeah? First is the training program. This is straightforward. Yeah? Mainly through JICA. And sometimes we have the arrangement between organization in Malaysia and our counterpart in Japan to send our employees. And these are the areas of interest at a particular time. Basically more in industrialization process of our nation. Second is the education program. This is what people know most, like sending our students to Japan through various initiatives. For instance, like special training school with advanced courses, junior colleges, colleges of technology and universities. And we also would like to thank the Japanese government through Mambusho. We also provide a lot of scholarships to our students. And Ambang Asuhan is based in the University of Malaya. Yeah? This is like a preparatory center before we send our students to Japan. And also there are also a preparatory center initiated by MARA as well. These are a number of initiatives under education program, not including other programs initiated by universities themselves. For instance, like UNIMAS, we send our staff for the study here in Japan, University Pertahanan and other universities. We're also sending our staff to pursue their study here in Japan. Next is Executive Development Program. This is basically for government officers, managers and executives. They're sent to Japan to learn about the management style of Japanese companies and government. And normally it is a short period of training, 1 to 3 months. And Japanese language preparation is not required. Normally the program is conducted in English. Another important component of this policy is the cultural exchange program. The main player actually is the Japan Foundation. They carry out a lot of cultural activities, and one of them is actually exchange of person program, where the Japanese government dispatch Japanese scholars, artists, athletics instructors to Malaysia to conduct joint research project, lectures, and of course demonstration. And lastly is the Japanese studies program. We have been receiving a number of Japanese teachers, Japanese language teachers to Malaysia in order to help our students to learn better Japanese from the mother tongue speakers. Now, in 1988, after like 6-7 years after the policy, JACA did this simple study. Because the idea of this is how to measure our students, emulate or inculcate the work ethics and the work culture of the Japanese people. So this simple study was conducted by JACA in 1988, and it shows clearly that almost 100% I would say, of our students and those who attended under JACA, this training program, they could emulate or could inculcate this Japanese work culture. It's a good sign, but I don't know whether they can sustain it. Maybe they can inculcate, they can maintain that culture immediately after they finish the training session. But after they come back to Malaysia, because the environment is different, they eat nasi lemak, they don't eat sushi, they eat curry, they don't eat soba, so they change. Yeah? So we have to do serious study about how the sustainability to inculcate these values to our people. So I would like to encourage, actually, through my research in Dr. Azhar, there are a lot of studies or analysis done by the Japanese side, JICA, by the Japanese embassy, but not by Malaysian people. So since the Director General is here, the Secretary General is here, maybe he can allocate a little money to our student here with the help of NIMAS or UPNN here. We can conduct research to follow through the low-risk policy, the outcome and the challenges from the beginning, and to follow through in terms of where are these people now, what they are doing, how successful they are. Okay, another initiative under low-risk policy is the later years. You can see started in 1993. This is called HELP program. HELP program is a Japanese higher education project by the government of Malaysia, which was implemented under the low-risk policy. Yayasan Pelajar Mara was appointed as the implementing agency. There's 3 HELP, HELP 1, HELP 2, HELP 3. Dr. Azam, you under HELP 1? We have 1. HELP. Dr. Azam under HELP 2. Yeah. So now currently it's under HELP 3. Yeah. So we are not sure whether Japan will support HELP 4 or not. Probably it is the end of HELP. No more HELP. Yeah. So we have to take advantage of this very innovative program, whereby through Yayasan Pelajaran Mara, we send best student education system from school to Japan. And I'm worried actually because they were sent here to good Japanese universities and good Japanese professors, and they good, very good education, but what happened after they finished? Therefore, 15 years ago, I came to Japan, and I realized that many Malaysian students study in Japan, and I interviewed most of them. And currently, I already employed almost 20 of them now in UNIMAS. So the Rijal is one of them. Yeah. So I think after that, University Pahang also came, University Perlis also, and many more universities came in, because we are actually worried that they are good students, selected students, yeah, but there is no specific program for them when they finish. So I think the best place for them is to join the universities in Malaysia. So this is the major initiative by both governments to have this Malaysia-Japan International Institute of Technology. Already been established in 2010. We took the first batch of students last year. Look, the idea is, this policy does not mean everything must be done in Japan. The spirit must be everywhere. Yeah. The idea can be implemented in Malaysia as well, not necessarily in Japan. Look, this policy doesn't mean physically you must look east. Look, this policy can be implemented in Malaysia. Therefore, the idea how to implement Japanese-style university in Malaysia. Therefore, it's very challenging, very important project in order to prove to the world that Malaysia can do as Japanese in Malaysia. As I mentioned earlier, some of the not so successful stories, because when they go back to Malaysia, the environment is different. Not the same as Japan. For instance, here everybody take a train. In Malaysia, everybody take car. So, therefore, I think this is a very important project. I think some of the professors here from Japan were involved from the beginning. This is a little bit about in terms of statistics. Yeah? This is again a study done by Embassy of Japan in Malaysia. I cannot find statistics from Malaysian side. Very sad to say. So, as of 2007, we have produced 11,000 plus. But the latest figure I received, as of 2009, we have trained altogether 12,534 young Malaysian boys and girls under this program. So if you were to include all other programs done individually by parents, by universities, by companies, I would say easily we have trained about 15,000 Malaysians in Japan, including those sent by university and the university study leave program. So there are many of them. But again, the big question mark is where are they? What are they doing now? Therefore, these are the outcome and the challenges as far as I see it. I'm not a product of this policy, but I'm a strong supporter of this policy. I'm involved in many Japanese universities. My friend here, Professor Mayama from Iwate Prefecture University, Professor Ono, Professor Lau, and most of the professors from Waseda University. So I'm very passionate about this policy, very concerned. So we have trained, and actually they play a very important role, no doubt. But there are challenges. For instance, we need to trace the implementation of this policy from our side. I spoke to many alumni of LEP. This is the truth. Sometimes they are very disappointed because when they set their feet in Malaysia, they don't know what to do. They are lost. By right, because it's a very important program by the government of Malaysia, there should be a definite, specific program at the national level for them, so that the government can utilize them properly. And then we need to have a database of those decided to work in Japan, like Professor Lau is the first, I think, group of this policy product. From Datuk University, we just signed a MOU yesterday with Datuk University. So we have to keep in touch with these people. There are many people like Professor Lau and others who are still working with the big industries in Japan. We have to communicate with them. And if possible, try to tap their brain. Not physically, maybe, to transfer or to come back, but to tap their brain and bring them back to Malaysia to contribute. So we need all this information. And I heard about the alumni of this policy. So when I checked their website, nothing much. Have you checked, Malaysian student? Do you know about the alumni society? No? So again, there is a platform, but it is not active. We have the Persatuan, the association, Malaysian student and things like that. But this is actually should be a very important platform for you to have a group when you go back to Malaysia. And another issue that I would like to share with you from my own personal experience, as I said earlier, is a lack of Japanese like work environment in Malaysia. Therefore, whatever they gain here cannot sustain. Punctuality. In Malaysia, meeting at 9 o'clock can be 9:30. But here, the train arrived at 9:01. We arrived at 9:02. We're gone. You missed the train. So this lack of this environment. So I don't blame people who came back to Malaysia after they spent so many years in Japan. The environment is not there. So how to create an environment? I think MJIT is one case study. Again, this is my previous slide regarding human capital development. Outside the perimeter of human capital development training program, there are other benefits that we can gain from this policy. This is with regards to industrialization in Malaysia. So currently, this is a source we got from JETRO. More than 1,400 companies, Japanese companies now in Malaysia. It is very strong presence of Japanese company in Malaysia. various industries. And Protons project is one example in which Dr. Mahathir wanted to emulate Japanese manufacturing culture in Malaysia. He was criticized initially. His idea is really not just to bring Japanese technology to Malaysia, but to educate Malaysian workers, engineers, to design car eventually, not just to assemble. But at least we have a national car now. Without this policy, we don't have a national car. And under this ODA program, unfortunately, Malaysia, because of our economic progress, slowly we are not qualified to certain aids or grant from the Japanese government. So we actually, this is a good sign. A good sign that we have progressed, that to the extent that we do not qualify for aids anymore. So as far as ODA is concerned, Malaysia only qualified to certain areas, not all anymore. So you can see, we are only qualified in environmental areas, human resource development, disaster prevention, and narrowing the income gap. However, we still managed to get a number of ODA projects. These are the recent list of ODA projects that Malaysia has received aids from Japan. I don't want to mention all. I mentioned the health program just now, and UNIMAS is very fortunate. I think the only university in Malaysia received this grant from Japan directly, because Dr. Mahathir in 2004 he came to Japan, and he personally negotiated with the Prime Minister of Japan at the time. I cannot remember his name because they change Prime Minister often. So he managed to negotiate and get a loan, special loan, just to build UNIMAS permanent campus. Okay? So that, I think I indirectly benefit because UNIMAS, the new campus was built using ODA loan. So this is UNIMAS. You can see the loan that we received from the Japanese government under the ODA program, more than $500 million ringgit. Yeah. Whereas the Malaysian contribution is less than 500 million ringgit. So it has transformed our campus, UNIMAS campus, from this like a resort like wooden structure. From 1993 to 2005, we used this campus. Yeah. Then 2005 onward, we moved to this new campus, built by the ODA loan. So again, thank you to the Japanese government for providing the fund, and we are now very happy to have our new campus. And I would like to summarize and to relate what I personally and UNIMAS in particular have gained through this policy. As I mentioned, more than 15,000 young Malaysians have benefited from this program. Actually, they went to more than 60 universities in Japan. And the health program actually is very, very good. I hope the government will continue to train young Malaysians, especially at the level of Masters and PhD. And MJIT, now they started already, more than 100 students. And as far as UNIMAS is concerned, as I mentioned, we have a very strong relationship with Waseda University. This is like my second home. Meiji University, Professor Ono, very good collaboration with Meiji University. Kyoto University, Isumekan, Osaka, Chiba, JAIST, Chibaura, Yamaguchi, because Yamaguchi is working closely with Tokoyama. Tokoyama, one of the sponsors, there's a big plant in Sarawak. Therefore, they are actually providing training program for Tokoyama employees. So they are working together with us to train Tokoyama employees in Sarawak. And yesterday, we are very proud to have formal collaboration with Datuk University. So yesterday, we signed our MOU. And not just with universities, we also have very close collaboration with industries in Japan. For instance, we have joint project with KDDI, NTT, Sumitomo Electric, Mitsubishi Electric, TTC, Osaka Gas Foundation, Okojaka Japan Foundation, the New Century Fermentation Research. This is our partner in Sego Research, and many more. So look, its policy does not mean just working together with university. Okay? We are supposed to encourage people to work with industry as well. Again, now more than 1,400 Japanese companies operating in Malaysia. And I heard there are many more to come. Yeah? And still, Japan is the main economic and trading partner with Malaysia for the last 40 years. And the strong point, of course, the political and economic stability, the development of our infrastructure, skilled workforce, English, and also cultural diversity. And just to add on, in Sarawak, where UNIMAS is, this is Sarawak, Kuching is here, where UNIMAS is located. The state government of Sarawak and together with the federal government has introduced SCORE project, Sarawak Corridor of Renewable Energy. The idea is to use renewable energy as the platform for development. So because Sarawak there are a lot of water, they use hydro as source of energy, and by having clean energy and cheap energy, they would like to attract heavy industry to Sarawak. So one of the main big corporations to come to support SCORE is Tokoyama. The former ambassador of Japan in Malaysia, Hiroyuki, very passionate about this project. He himself come and visit the project every year, even today. I just met him 2 months ago. He went to see the progress of this project. So Tokoyama Corporation investing heavily in Sarawak, and they need so many engineers and employees to work with them. When I talked to the top management of Tokoyama, I asked them what are their requirements to employ Malaysians. They said simple, one condition: they must know Japanese work ethics. That's it. They don't ask about your qualification, whether you're from Malaysia, from Japan, from England, no. The first criteria, whether our young Malaysian can emulate, can work in Japanese work environment. That's all we do. Well, now, after 30 years, what's next? Recently, Dr. Mahathir, in his speech, he said, look, this policy is still relevant. Not only the last 30 years, today, but the next 30 years. Meaning that we have not achieved what he tried to achieve so far. Especially Japan and Korea. So the Look East policy, which marked its 30 years of implementation this year, is still relevant for the next 30 years. Still a lot to be learned from the two main countries in the policy, Japan and Korea, especially pertaining to their culture and value system. He keep on mentioning value and also discipline, work ethics, and loyalty to your company, to your organization, and to your country. So I think just briefly my presentation this morning. I put forward a lot of challenges for Malaysia to relook at this policy and to examine. We can say we have achieved in terms of numbers, but whether we have really achieved in terms of bringing overall culture and the work ethics of the Japanese people in Malaysia. It's yet to be seen, but I hope with the committee here, the students, I'm very proud to say that they are very Japanese now. Yeah? To organize such a seminar like this in less than 6 months is something very, very, very tough, but I think they have done it very well. So again, please maintain this strong spirit of this policy and don't diminish. Please keep it always in yourself when you come to Malaysia and try to pass this culture to your friend in Malaysia. Yeah? Rather than you yourself forget about it, you must multiply for the people in Malaysia. So I think with that, once again, thank you very much for this opportunity, and I don't think there's any question and answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Datuk Dr. Khairuddin Abdul Hamid. The implementation of this policy is an astonishing move by our government, and looking east does not mean to completely reject the positive value from Western, but on how to extract and assimilate the positive value between both East and West. Now we are going to have 50 minutes break for refreshment, so see you guys at 11:05 sharp here. Thank you very much. Please have your break time. Thank you.